Welcome back to the Chess Rapid Speedrun. We're currently rated 1193, so a win today would get us over 1200, which would be a good milestone. We are approaching the intermediate territory at this point. We have not yet lost a game, but the games are getting tougher as we continue to move up the rating. So let's go d4, and we have another Queen's Gambit. I don't think we faced anything except for d5 against d4 so far. So consistent openings by our opponent, and by far the most popular line has been d takes c4, and this is a new move. I'm not sure we faced e5 yet. So a couple things I can play against this. I can play knight f3. I could take, but then queen trade probably favors him. I lose castling right. The move I'm going to go with though is d5. Push my pawn into his side of the board, and that disables the knight from developing to that natural square right there. Okay, he plays c6. Couple ideas here. Taking would be no good. That would help him to develop. I think I'm just going to take the pawn back, and then if he takes, I'll decide whether e takes or bishop takes is better. In this position, I actually believe that e takes is better because it continues to prevent his knight from developing to this very natural square on c6. So that's maybe a little bit of a less obvious move. It does make it so that this pawn is isolated, but I think the restriction that it gives on white's position makes it a good move. Okay. Two options here. First would be bishop blocks, the other would be knight blocks. Blocking with the bishop, it's kind of just a one move threat. He'd have to move his queen again, which might be good, but he could reposition somewhere like there, which would attack the pawn, but then maybe I bring this pawn out, or this bishop out to c3. I don't hate that maneuver. I think I'm just going to play knight c3 though, get the knight involved in the game, help defend this pawn. He might bring his bishop out to b4. I think that would be a likely follow-up. But then I think bringing my queen out to b3 would be a good move there. So let's go for it. If he takes, obviously I take back with the pawn, want to keep the queens on the board, and threatening to do something like push this pawn with the discovered attack there on f7. So we'll see how my opponent handles this. If he plays a move like knight f6, which is probably the most natural move in the position, if I go d6, he could just castle. So in that position, I might actually want to bring my bishop out to a3. That way that prevents him from castling, which I think is going to be exactly what I do here. What if he hops his knight in? I can bring my knight in to defend that pawn. Yeah, let's go for this. Okay, he brings his knight out, but now I think d6 is going to be strong here. If I go d6, especially now that he's blocked his bishop, his only way to defend that pawn would be bringing the rook over, which he can't even do because I take. So yeah, I think this just is going to be devastating for my opponent. I guess maybe I miscalculated here because now he could castle because I blocked my bishop from preventing him from castling. That looks good, but I'm going to be able to give a check first. So king doesn't have a lot of options. King goes there. Trying to figure out how to best get my queen into the attack. So I could take there. That's probably the best. So if I take the knight, he takes my bishop. I bring my queen. Let's do this. All right, and then I could bring my rook over immediately, but rather than that, I'm just going to develop my knight. And if my opponent is not careful, he'll eat that pawn, which will lose his queen, because then the queen will be pinned to the king. So, tempting move right there for him to take the pawn. I would think he would see that around the 1200 rating range and might not play that move, but we will see. He has no good checks. Everything is defended. So we'll see what he comes up with here. And then my next move is likely to castle. Okay, that's a good move. Well, maybe that's not a good move. I was gonna say that's a good move, but I have queen takes b7, and I don't see how he's gonna defend my many threats in that position. Not to mention that defends the knight, so I wouldn't hurt my pawn structure. If I play that though, he does have queen takes, which is maybe too risky. Yeah, if he plays that move in between, I might be... Oh, actually in that position, yeah, no, that's going to be too risky, so I'm not going to want to play queen takes b7. What is the best move here? I could castle, let him damage my pawn structure, but I don't know if he would be in a position to exploit it all that quick. I could also play c4. Let's go for c4. Now my bishop defends that pawn, my queen defends my knight, and that pawn is still poisonous because it would lose the queen. And now, since that would no longer be with check, I am threatening to take on b7. Okay, he pushes his pawn forward. Let's take. Seems reasonable to me. That no longer comes with check. I think he would lose too much material if he takes there. If he takes there, I could consider this check first. He moves over. Check, check, check. And then involve my rook. I think that would lead to eventual checkmate. So, our opponent under a lot of pressure here. Obviously the position is a little bit wild. Okay. So he brings his queen back to defend, but unfortunately that just takes away our opponent's escape square. So queen e7 is going to be checkmate. Let's go ahead and looks like we got the achievement. We got a rating of 1200 in rapid. Looks like we had one mistake. Let's go ahead and check out the game. It was definitely a tactical battle. Had to calculate things out nicely. We played just around 80% and it did not like our opponent's accuracy. It says accuracy of 8.2% in the middle game, which is pretty funny. So this is all
you missed an
theoretical.
opportunity.
Okay, and
E5
as early
takes space
as
in the center,
move
attacks the d4 pawn, and allows the dark squared bishop to develop.
An inaccuracy seems natural to me. I should probably know the theory on this. I've been playing the
You
queen
missed an
game for a
opportunity
while.
to add a defender.
Best move in this position
Knight
is
f3
to
develops the knight
which is
toward the
definitely
center.
Something I considered.
Attacks the e5
Let me
pawn
just check
and
that line out for a minute. If I take there, okay, then it likes bishop takes. It doesn't like knight takes, probably just because of attacking the knight. Okay, so that's good to know. In this position, I want to bring my knight out. If he takes, then I take the pawn on the c file, maintaining pressure on this one as well, and likely to win it back eventually. Probably just, yeah, castles. If he continues to develop, then all of a sudden I'm threatening a little bit more. All right, let's go back to the review.
This move left their pawn hanging.
That's also inaccurate. And then
this is the way to win a decent move,
here,
but they had a better one.
I decided to take with the
developing the knight, and this is the way to win a.
And it did.
This is the way to win a pawn.
With the bishops, that's also a good thing to note.
Decent. This move doesn't help there. You shield your king by blocking the check from the queen.
Best move. Again, if I would have blocked with the bishop, that would have just been a one-move threat.
You overlooked a better way to add a defender to a vulnerable knight.
So it probably wanted me to bring the bishop out.
The knight is now adequately
defended.
defended.
Me to develop the other knight. That makes sense. Develop more pieces. Generally, you want to develop all of your minor pieces first. I did like the threats that I was able to put on this diagonal, though, developing the queen. So let's go back.
They are threatening to capture a.
Game review.
Nice move stopping your opponent from castling.
That was the best move. That's nice, fine, stopping from castling. And then
they bring out. You overlooked an opportunity to win a tempo by threatening a queen.
That allows him to castle. So if we look at analysis, I'm pretty sure castling is going to be really his only decent move. Everything else is a very big advantage for white. But he misses it. I'm able to take the pawn, take the knight, and then develop my knight. And I mentioned it in the game, if he takes my pawn, which looks like it's for free, then I can bring my rook over and he's in trouble. He's gonna have to lose the queen because it's pinned to the king. So let's go back to review.
You are Gertie. They are threatening to eventually. You are now able to eventually win a rook.
A blunder. It says not eventually able to win a rook.
You overlooked an opportunity to tactically. You are now able to eventually win a rook.
Position. Okay, so this is a move I considered. I didn't think it worked because of this move in between. I guess I can just move up. My rooks obviously defend each other now. He has this move. And then I guess my queen just gets away. Goes to g1, and now he has no attack anymore. So yeah, here I'm not winning one but both of his rooks and have just a huge material advantage. That felt more complicated than I needed to make it, though, because I was already knew I was in a very dominant position. So I play there. That's a mistake because now I play queen takes b7, and that hangs mate in one, which we play on the next move. So that's the game, up to 1214 elo. Thanks for joining.